Hi, Moss here with the Hiby R6. Now, normally I wouldn't unbox and review stuff that is being crowdfunded at the moment, but this is actually in production in small numbers in China at the moment. But I agreed to review this because Hiby is a manufacturer that is they manufacture stuff for other manufacturers basically. So they've made software for other well-known brands for their DAPs and what have you. So basically they're funding this just to put it into production. I mean, it's already final. It's already ready to go. They've already been selling them in small numbers in China. So at the moment, this has been sent over to me to unbox and review, and I've heard some promising things about it. So I thought, yes, I'll agree to check it out. And so also, I happen to know one of the people in Hiby who's known through HeadFi, Joe Blogs, as he's been around HeadFi since the very beginning. And so he went to work for Hiby, and he's worked for FIO before, so he's very familiar with DAPs, and I'm going on his recommendation on this as well. So I don't know a great deal about it. The main thing is that it's uses the latest processors. It's supposed to have a multi-core processor. It's supposed to be fast. It uses Android, and it comes in two versions apparently. One with steel and one with an aluminium shell, which costs a bit more. And so, well, today I'm unboxing it on my desk. This one, they've sent me black, which is, it's certainly, just pulling it out, it does look like it's very nice. And lately, of course, the good DAPs from China, FIO being an example I have, this is just to give you a size comparison. This is the original X7 with the AMO module, which has no amp in it. So it's about the size of the X5 Mark III, I think it's about similar size. So now, again, I have very little info on this other than what's been written online. But I gather it's supposed to have a very fast responding UI. And the problem with things like the X7, and which has been rectified in the X7 too, of course, was it could be a little bit slow. Once you started loading up with programs, it became a bit... it didn't like doing a lot more than playing music. This seems to have one slot, whereas now the X7 Mark II has two slots. It has some very shiny and nice looking line out, coax and headphone out, and has a balanced output too. Why I'm kicking the ass of any manufacturer that doesn't switch to the 4.4mm standard. I want everyone to switch to that because these things are horrible. They're easy to break. They're a pain to solder. They're generally a nuisance. They're not reliable. I just want to get rid of this 2.5mm standard and switch everyone to 4.4. And then we can abolish, when then we have the one, like the One Ring, we can have the one connector. Now the line out / coax, I gather, does not have optical, but it does use the same pinout as the FIO or FIO, whichever way you want to pronounce it. And so there's some similarity there. So at least that's a fairly familiar standard, since FIO is a big brand that everyone knows now. So it looks like we have volume controls on the sides and power and your playback controls on here. And they seem to be comfortably clicky buttons. Now, there's interesting discussion on this, is they don't have a button lock at the moment, but they reckon that since it requires a fair bit of pressure to push them, it's unlikely to be necessary. But at the moment, the software is going to be in something like a kind of continual development. So anything that's missing when I review it, well, it very likely will be updated. So hopefully we can keep up on that, and if there are big changes, then I can do another review and point out what's updated. But things like the updates are what made the X7 really good. It started off there were issues with the software, and as they work through them, it's become a really good DAP. And the X7 Mark II, once they've upgraded the hardware, has become fantastic. So there's a lot of promise these days in getting an Android-based player, because you have a lot more options in terms of what you can do with it. And apparently they're not going to have a pure music style mode with this, because the software will play, it doesn't have to deal with the Android issues that you get with it, resampling and what have you, the music before outputting it. So apparently there's a lot of big deal about the quality of the software with this. And they seem to have gone into this habit of requiring that you use an iPhone style tray remover to put a micro SD card in there. With the clicky thing, I like this system where you just click it in and out. This was fine for me. I don't know why companies are abandoning that just to copy Apple. This design was for SIM card trays, and you don't pull your SIM cards in and out unless you like some of my old friends who used to switch SIM cards like mad back in the old days. But with micro SD cards, you switch them a lot, I reckon. But now they're so large, people might stack up music, but I pull out my SD cards to add music all the time. Now, that's another thing. On the bottom, what do you notice? USB-C. So this should be fast. So transfers should be much faster. Maybe you don't need to pull out your micro SD cards. Anyhow, ranting away. What do we have? We have a USB to USB-C cable in there, which I'm actually going to need, so I may as well open this. I always leave the cables in the box if I don't need them. And it's a nice, attractive cable. So gold plated. They've obviously gone at least looks classy and feels classy. We have the good old rubber case, shades of Fio again in here. Now they've kindly included a leather case for me to check out, so we'll go into detail. I'll have a look at that, fit that all together later on. But rubber cases are good to stop things sliding around. I tend to drop phones out of my pocket like mad. You know, I'm a rubber case person. There's my iPhone 10 with chunk cut out of the case to fit it in my car. But anyway, and there's a very fancy looking digital adapter. I mean, you compare this to the Fio ones, it doesn't look so fancy, but this will be good for taking into stores and playing music on through DACs and what have you. It's a nice kind of tech flexy covered thing. Very pretty. And we have some instructions, which my cameras are going to be a bit bleach out because of the settings for the black stuff. Anything interesting in here? Thank you for purchasing. It looks like we're missing a cover. That's page 5. It was inside out. Well, we can forgive that little mistake. We have an extra screen protector, it looks like. Great. That seems to have, it has a screen protector on the front and a thing on the back. Oh, there are two. Is that for, and the second one out of its case. Okay, but okay, that's what we have. And the player, so I'm going to play with that, and then I'll get back to you and I'll go through the details of what it does, what it doesn't do, and how it sounds. Thanks once again to my patrons for their support in making my videos. Did you know that for just a few dollars a month you can get to see the rough cuts of my videos, sometimes well in advance? Not only that, but you also get to see behind the scenes footage, alternate takes of the videos, and you can chat to me directly and participate in raffles for products. Go to patreon.com/Currawong for more information. Also, don't forget to check out my website, headphone-earphone.reviews or HEAR.reviews, where you'll get to find written versions of many of my reviews. You can also help support me by buying your headphones through the links in the sidebar on the site. See you online.